he in a cardigan? He's like an athletic librarian.
You know, Sunny's throwing a party.
Really?
Love a good high school party with the liquors and the touching, all the other stuff.
Kuhoo Verma is a star on the rise. She recently earned some well-deserved buzz for her performance in the off-Broadway musical Octet. And now she's the star of a new teen road trip comedy on Hulu called Plan B. Broadway.com correspondent Charlie Cooper has the story.
You had the chance, luckily, as so many people were out of work, you had the chance to actually work.
Yeah.
You were filming Plan B during the pandemic. What was that experience like? What did that look like for you guys?
I was so terrified going into it because I was like, what if I'm like this like over dramatic, awful, saccharine person on camera? But I also trusted Natalie Morales, the director, to pull me back and be like, girl, you're doing way too much. Dial it back. So, and she did. She did if that ever happened. And it was a great new medium for me. It was so fun. And also really paranoid a little bit. You know, we were like, okay, I'm supposed to touch you, interact with you, and be in love with you. And also, do you have the thing? Do you have COVID?
So, of course, this is a coming-of-age film.
Yeah.
You play Sunny, one of the leading ladies in the film. Are there any things that you relate to her at that age? Were you like her at all? And what were you like at that age?
Yeah, it's so funny. I was more of a Lupe at that age, but when I was in middle school, I was more of a Sunny. And like I saw myself as this like bad and didn't understand why the rest of the people in my life were not treating me as such. I didn't understand like my hierarchy in the world quite yet. I do think that there's definitely this weird misunderstanding when you're that age, and also a person of color, also a queer person of color, of how you see yourself versus how the world views you. There's a lot of confusion in that and a lot of shame in that and guilt in that. And so unpacking that was extremely healing for me, to go back and be like, hey, middle school Kuhoo, you're loved, you're worthy, you can make your own decisions and stand by them, and you don't have to prove anything to anyone.
Was it easier for you to play the role of Sunny alongside Lupe, Victoria, who's actually a friend of yours in real life, or were there challenges? Talk about that experience.
Yeah, I mean, she wasn't a friend before. Like we'd never met each other before we were cast as this role, and we did the chemistry read over Zoom, which is like the worst way to do a chemistry read ever. It's like, hey, do you guys like vibe off each other? Are your spirits connected over a screen?
Yeah.
Terrible. But somehow it was so clear, even through that platform, that like this is something extremely tangible, extremely special. And so we like slowly became friends through pretending like we were best friends. And it was honestly so easy because we depended on each other, we leaned on each other, and it was exactly that. It's like, even if it was TMI, I was like, this is exactly, I'm having an anxiety attack. Help me, let me lean on you, and you can lean on me, and that kind of trust is so rare.
What does it mean to you to be a woman of color performing on stage in front of hundreds of people, and then also being able to see yourself in films and having little girls who look like you see that?
Yeah, oh man. It's as an actor, I sometimes almost forget that how I present in the world. I present so soul first and spirit first that I forget the weight of what that means. The weight of aesthetic and the weight of how I seem, how I present outwardly. And so to know that so many of the reactions have been about that specifically is weird, like a weird mind twister for me. To be like, oh wow, when you see me, you see so much responsibility on my shoulders, and you see so much gravitas. When in fact, I'm like, I'm just an actor. I'm just trying to like do the thing and act. And yeah, it's an immense task. It's an immense task to try to follow through on.
Love that. So I had actually learned that your grandfather is a saint.
Yes, how did you know that?
I
you
did
can
my
find
research.
that on Instagram.
I did my research. But did you gather any sort of like knowledge or wisdom from him for that?
Yeah, it's intrinsically always there with me. His knowledge, his power, his wisdom. I always feel that he is with me. He's not dead. He hasn't passed away. He is very much in this plane of life. But he's also, you know, for someone that has like reached nirvana, no matter if you believe in that or not, I feel like he is following always, and his presence is always there with me. And so I feel like he is a performer, he's an artist in his own way. So it's kind of inevitable that I also end up here in this way. But yeah, I'm bringing a lot of him into my work, especially recently as I'm trying to reconnect with the curse.